All right, so it is now 1:30 in the afternoon. We have been messing with this action. See, we took the forearm off of the chassis, and we put the bat receiver in here, and we've been messing around quite a bit to see, does it fit? And so guys, I got to tell you, I am somewhat impressed. I'm not totally impressed, okay? But I'm going to loosen, but we did have to, you realize there's bolts, obviously bolts that run up in here. We had to shorten the front bolt in the lathe. And then the rear one, bat here, come in here so they can see. Bat receivers, this is blind right here. So that bolt, the screw, the 1/4-28 bolt, if it's too long, it will not come up through the receiver. So one of the things I do with all bat receivers is I have to shorten those 1/4-28 bolts to the right length. And the right length is just before it hits into the receiver, but about 1 thread underneath. So we had to do that. But here's the thing. So what we did is, watch this. Here, come on over here so you can see what's going on. So let's take this one back out, this rear one. All right. So again, we cut that to length. It was too long. So here's the front one. We cut it to length also. It wasn't too bad. So we set the receiver in here. Just set it in, right? And then stand it up. Are you here?
Yep.
Stand it up. Hold it back. Whoop. I didn't mean to do that.
I got you.
Here. Hold it down and back. In other words, toward the ground, right? But actually, I'm squeezing it in too. So then put this front bolt in, okay? And I'm putting some pressure on this, okay? And as the bolt comes up, I was surprised and impressed that I can't feel anything. In other words, there was no movement, all right? And it's actually the back of the receiver, the lug on the receiver, the back of it, actually appears to have full contact with the mortise in the chassis. Okay, that I did not expect that. All right, now, so here's the real test though. Put your rear screw in, your rear 1/4-28 bolt. Get your wrench in it. Again, stand it up. Then put your thumb halfway on the receiver, halfway on the chassis, and put quite a bit of pressure right there so that you can really feel it. Hold it down on the bench and then bring the bolt up. Just run it in is what I'm saying. Now, there is movement. Okay? There is movement. But there is much less movement than I thought there would be. I have saw expensive, supposedly custom-bedded rifles that guys have brought here that didn't shoot that had worse bedding than this. Now, what I will say is if I had bedded this, say it was in a traditional stock, I would rebed it. This is not good enough because there is movement. But the movement is very, very minimal. It's enough, the movement is so small that I'm actually impressed. I mean, and so this causes...
It causes you a dilemma.
Yes, exactly, because if it was really bad, well then we have to bed the tang, right? We just have to, there's no choice. But what it feels like is, it feels like the tang, the mortise for the tang that was cut into the chassis is about 3,000 or 4 thousandths low. Again, Jason says he doesn't feel that much. But again, I've been doing this a long time. All I'm saying is it is not perfect, but it's pretty good. And so yes, there's really two dilemmas here. Do we try to do anything about it? Or do we just say, well, let's just see and take it out and shoot it, right? See how it'll shoot. The thing is, the bedding is not perfect, but it's close. It really is pretty darn good. Good enough that I'm impressed that it is that good. You could, and I don't think I want to do this, But you could put a piece of tape underneath that, screw it down, and I'll bet there wouldn't be any movement at all. I might even try that after we shut this camera off. I don't know whether I want to mess around with it or not, because I don't want a piece of tape in there, right? But that's about what it feels like, the thickness of a piece of tape, or 2 pieces. I'm talking about regular Scotch tape. You'd put that in there. The other thing you could do, and I have done this in the past with guns that I did not build. I have, if you look back underneath here, I'm not dragging it out. I have tin, shim stock, right? It's like rolls of tin, but it's like in 1 thou, 2 thou. I have some over there too. 3 thou thicknesses you can get off of Brownells. You could very easily cut a little template out of, say, 1 thou shim stock, which would not compress because it's metal, or say a 2 thou one, put it in there and then see, which we may do that. I'm talking myself into doing it right now, because it's possible with a piece of shim stock or tape underneath there, it would be nearly perfect. It's way better than I thought. Now, and I'm not going to take it out right now to show you, but there is some issues. It's not like, oh man, just bolt it in. The little bolt that holds the side bolt release, the head of that is hitting into the chassis. So there was an obvious shiny mark there. There's a couple other shiny marks in here that we got to get in here and figure out what the heck they are. But at the very least, we're going to take this over in the mill and we're going to mill a recess out. I'll use a round end mill. We're going to probably a 1/4 inch round end mill, and we're going to cut into this chassis so that that little bolt, little screw that holds that side bolt release in, you can't have it hit, is what I'm trying to say. There can't be any interference. We also drove the trigger pins out to make sure that we had enough clearance for that. But I can see in the bottom, once we put the trigger in, look, all I'm trying to say is it's better than I thought it would be. It really is. I wouldn't be surprised, even if in this, the way it is right now, it might shoot 1/2 inch. It really might. I'm quite surprised. But I will say something else. Supposedly these things are supposed to be super light. This thing, hold this.
Yeah.
This thing's not super light.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's go on record now. My guess is with optics and everything, this is going to be a 12-pound gun.
Yeah, it's not like it's a really lightweight gun. So I don't know. We're going to keep moving on. The idea is to get a completed gun. It's not going to be today, but we're getting closer. So, all right, see you later. Okay, so it is the end of day 4. It's almost 6 o'clock right now, and all the metal work now is done, and it is chambered, and we've been messing with, we disassembled the chassis, and we've been messing with getting the receiver to go in that. But before we show you that, we want to show you something. So, which one is the smaller of the two?
This one is the smaller.
Okay, so Vicky, you keep the camera on this. You ready? So I have actually more than that, but I have two belt gauges here. So watch. Okay, put that in there. Here, watch. Okay, you see that?
Yep.
All right, you do the commentary. You maybe you can explain. I obviously I have a failure to communicate. People don't understand what I'm saying to them. You tell them.
No, I mean I haven't done this. This is new to me, but this is amazing to me to watch with these head spacing on these gauges, to watch this bolt throw and just to have the interference fit, and the fact that with the crush, this bolt lever literally is an interference fit enough that it is not going to fall under its own load.
Right, and so here's the thing. We'll just call this gauge number 1. This is the one we actually used while we were building the gun. So watch. This is gauge number 1, right? And it goes like that,
it's
right?
It's ounces. This is
right.
Ounces.
So this one is slightly larger. That means it's larger from here to here. Greater this way, right? So watch this one. Okay, watch. Now here's the deal. This one takes more pressure. There's no way that, I don't see how I can visually show you that, but that takes a hair more pressure. I always said half a thou. There's a half a thou between this one and that one. There's really probably about 3 10,000ths. So this one is slightly bigger. And I want you to watch this. Come here. So you need to see what we're saying here. So this is, here, you have glasses on. Tell me what that is.
This is the 300, this is the Norma brass.
Norma. This is new Norma brass, right? So watch this. These are in order, by the way.
And this is factory ammunition.
Right.
Right? This is what we're...
Right. So watch this. Okay, so this is the, are you watching?
Yep.
That's Norma, 300 Winchester. I'm gonna put these in order. Watch this. What's this?
This is Norma mag as well.
Okay. But obviously a different lot number. Ready? Watch, watch, watch. Easier. Okay? A little bit easier. What's that one?
This is the Norma mag.
Another Norma. Different lot number though. Ready? Watch. Can you see this, Vicky?
Yeah.
Watch. Slightly easier. Okay? Watch this. What's that?
This is the F&C.
FC, that's
FC,
federal.
federal.
Federal cartridge. Okay, watch. Here we go.
Huh.
Do you see?
I see.
Do you see?
It just falls.
Okay, watch.
And this is the first of the La Pua.
Okay. Okay, watch. Okay, so we got that out of order.
That one, yeah.
So that one might go at the end. We got that out of order. Take this one out of the way. Put this up here.
Yep.
Okay, so you see this? A little bit of resistance. That's actually very close to one of those headspace gauges. So where does this go?
Right there.
It goes here?
Yep.
All right, what is this?
This is the first of the, no, that's a La Pua as well.
Another one.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Those two. So I do believe that's 2 different lots of brass and they're very similar. What is this?
This is Winchester.
Okay, Winchester, WW. Okay, look. So yes, we got them out of order, which is not unusual. So, but here's the deal. In other words, from biggest to smallest. Biggest, smaller, 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 and then this one. Smallest. So 2 headspace gauges and 3, 6, and 7 pieces of brass. 2 headspace gauges, 7 pieces of brass, and you remember somewhere back in this video that may have not even been put up yet, remember I said to you, okay, well, so what do you do? And I mean, it wasn't a rhetorical question. The thing is, what do you do?
Right.
Right?
And that range was between 10,000ths and 3,000ths.
Yeah, about a 7,000 range in the belts. And what's really interesting about this is, and we're not this good, okay? People understand this. There's definitely an element of luck involved in this, but we literally split the difference. We literally split it right down the middle. So we're halfway between the big one and halfway between the small one. And so what else can you do? I mean, that's as good as you can do. Now, there's something else here that I do want to show you. So I gotta walk away and wipe my hands off for a second.
Just a couple seconds. Ultimately, though, by splitting that distance between the two, it gives us the ability to use any factory ammunition.
On either side.
On either side, upper and lower.
Right. So we obviously we had the receiver off, and we've been spending a lot of time seeing if the receiver's really going to go in here, putting the bolts in it, doing all kind of stuff. Come here. The one thing we had to do with this is a side bolt release on this bat, right? And on bats, see that little screw that sticks down? Even on McMillan stocks, you have to inlet for that, right? So look what we did. We had to take this in the mill, and we had to mill that out. And we actually had to go back a couple times because we only wanted to take just barely enough. And if you notice, we actually You can barely tell. I wouldn't even notice. He noticed. We came through the side just a little bit, but it's right up underneath there. So it's not going to hurt anything. But if we would have stayed this way to thou, it wouldn't have come through. We had to get that opened up. Then, like I said, we were messing around with it, putting the bolts in it, feeling it, doing all kind of stuff. And I said to Jason, look, come here, you need to look at this. The recoil lug on the receiver fit the recoil lug mortise very well. Very well. The front screw, everything was great. So you realize you put the front screw in, you tighten it, right? Then you come back, you put the rear screw in, stand it up, and we kept doing it. How many times we put it together, take it apart?
25 times.
Right, maybe. Many times. Yeah. Put it together, take it apart, put it together. And what we figured is, I initially guessed it was like 10 thou low in the rear, right?
Yep.
Well, we refined that. As we kept doing it and fooling with it, it's somewhere 3 or 4 or 5 thou low in the rear. And so then we talk somewhere else on the video. We're like, well, what are we going to do? And so we're like, okay, let's test it. So come here and look what we did. Can you see that? That is a piece of black electrician's tape.
Oh, wow.
That we put on there and cut it out, right? When we put that piece of a black electrician's tape on there, I will still not say it's perfect. You gotta understand what my level of perfect is. But you know what? That's it. I was amazed how well it fit. With one thickness of black electrician's tape on the tang, which the tang, it was a hair low right here. And you know what? We had an idea. Just imagine, because you can see they took an end mill in there and they relieved that, right?
Right.
Just imagine if you could buy this where say that was 10 thou high or 15 thou high. Then you could put your receiver in, put your front bolt in, and you could do a shim test, right? You could do a shim test to figure out, okay, it's X amount high. And then you could take this over, put it in the milling machine, and you could literally relieve the exact amount. It would be awesome, but this is our solution for right now. And we're literally, I think we're gonna shoot it like this. We put black electrician's tape on and we cut it out and put the hole through it. Now, when you stand it up, you put the bolt, you put the front, make sure everything's seated to the rear. Put the front bolt in, put the other bolt in. I mean, we've been fooling with it for hours. It's really good. It's not flawless, but it's really good. Here's what I'll say. If it was my betting, I'd probably rebet it, but it's that good. It's pretty darn good, huh? Yeah. So that's where we're at right now. So tomorrow, we're going to quit for today. Tomorrow, we're going to actually work on getting it in there, checking the trigger now. You got to check for trigger. You got to check still a whole bunch more stuff, but I would say we're in the stretch, yeah. Right? Yeah. So it's working out pretty good. It's quite surprising, really. So the relationship between this and this is much better than what I thought it would be. So we'll see. See you later.
See ya.